Morning, everyone. This morning, we're going to be talking about traveling in the air, traveling on an aeroplane. Now, that is always an exciting way to travel because an aircraft has got an amazing, magnificent engine that is able to pull us right up into the air, transport us to where we want to go, and then land with us again and take us safely to our destination. That's the place we want to be at. So this morning, that's what I want to talk to you about. I want to talk to you about the aeroplane and the airport and the cockpit and the hangar and all the interesting words, the new words we're going to learn when we talk about air travel. So the first thing I want to do is to show you that if I want to fly, I've got to get to an airport because that's where I will be able to fly from. So I'm going to show you my pictures, and let's hope we can see the airport nicely. There we go. All right, so here is our airport over here, and at the airport, there's a thing here called a runway. Right, and that's why we have to go to the airport to fly, because for the airplane to get up into the air, he's got to be able to travel along the runway here very, very quickly and then take off into the air. And when he lands, he's got to do the same thing. He's got to come down a lot slower, and then he's got to find where the runway is to put the airplane back on the ground again. Right, so here is the airport building that we were talking about. There's the runway. Right, over here at the top, over here where we can see this point there, is the control tower. Right, and that helps to tell the people at the airport exactly where the airplanes are and when they're going to land. Right, so the people in the control tower work very, very hard. Okay, and they tell which airplane is allowed to take off, and they tell the airplanes when they're allowed to land so that they can come onto the runway safely, so that we don't have too many airplanes going off or coming down again too quickly. Right, so they've got to wait for their take-off time, that's when they fly up, and they've got to wait for their landing time, and that's when they come down. Right, now at this airport, you can see there's a helicopter coming down here because there's obviously a heliport. Okay, the helicopter doesn't need a long runway. He's able to take off because he's be able to take off straight up vertically, and he's able to land vertically. Right, these airplanes can't do that, so they need a runway, and he's able to do that, a lot smaller plane, and then he will land on top of the roof. Now, we don't often see a lot of helicopters at the airport, okay? But helicopters we often see like this landing at heliports are often at hospitals where people have to be transported quickly to the hospital to get there and to get emergency treatment to keep them alive. But anyway, here is a heliport. Okay, then let's have a look at our aeroplane here. Very interesting always. Okay, let me just, now you can see nicely. Right, here's our aeroplane. Okay, it has special, here you can see there's a tanker fueling it. It needs special fuel, okay? Our cars go on petrol, but an aeroplane will travel on special fuel. Right, now, an aeroplane's a little bit like a bird in that he's got a tail and he's got wings. So here's his tail, okay? And on his tail here, you'll see a flag. So usually on the aeroplane's tail, it tells us which country that aeroplane is from. So that's why the flags are on the tail, just to tell us which country the aeroplane has come from. This whole thing here is the body of the aeroplane, okay, like you have a body, but we don't call it a body, we say it's a fuselage. So here's the fuselage of the aeroplane, okay? Right in the front here is where the pilot sits. He sits in the cockpit, okay, and he flies the plane from there. And you can't see too clearly, but here in the picture is the wing. Right, so an aeroplane's also got a wing to make him stable up in the air, like the bird is stable and can fly nicely and catch all the air currents and things. Right, so does an airplane, and the wings help it to stay up. Okay, and obviously it's got amazing engines as well that are near the wing, and that helps to keep the plane up in the air. Now, these people are important too. So who are they? Here's your pilot. Okay, he's going to fly the plane. Here is the mechanic. He's also just as important because he's got to check out the plane with the pilot before that aeroplane flies. So the pilot and the mechanic must be quite happy that everything's in order, because on this aeroplane they're going to have passengers. They're going to be taking people, and those people must be safe. Who would this be then? Okay, that is the stewardess. So if you need anything and you're on the plane, you ask the stewardess to please help you. You can't get the pilot to stop flying to come and help you and sort out things you need on the airplane. So the stewardess is there. Okay, what is this? This is radar. Okay, so the people here in the control tower, like I showed you, maybe we can't see the control tower so much anymore. So let me move it that way a little bit. There, people in the control tower here pick up where the aeroplanes are from the radar. The radar picks up on their machines up here where the aeroplanes are. Okay, so the radar is very, very important and helps the planes know how many planes there are in the sky, how many need to come down, how many are close to the airport, how many are far away, and if there's any problems with the aeroplanes, the radar will let them know. So that's also a very important thing to remember at the airport, that the control tower plays a very important role. So the aeroplane can't just take off when he wants to or land when he wants to. The pilot's got to work with the control tower so that we all stay safe and not too many planes come crashing down together. Right, because that wouldn't be safe at all. Now I want to show you a few of the pictures in my book here that I've put aside for you, because I have told you about all the things at the airport, but I would love you to see. Now, you know, people have always wanted to fly. And here's a man trying to fly. He's built his own wings and he wants to fly. Okay. We always wanted to be like birds. Here's another airplane that was made very, very long ago. We've got much more fancy airplanes now. Okay, and these haven't got such big engines, but they're working on their wings to keep them up in the air. Right. Then I wanted to show you this important picture. Yeah, here's your runway. Okay, so that you can see what it looks like. Like I said to you, it looks like all the roads at the airport. Right, there's the airport building. And here at the top there, you can see the control tower. That's just the airport building. Right, important. The pilot in the cockpit. Okay, and he's got all those dials. He's got a lot of training. He's got to be able to take us safely to when we need to go, and he's got to know all the directions. You know the directions we were talking about yesterday or the other day? He's got to know all of those. Right, important picture. They're the people in the control tower. That's what they can see outside, okay? So they see through here. Okay, but they're working there on the radar and with all the machinery. You can see he's listening with his earphones to know what he needs to do, and he's talking as well. He's talking here as well. So he can tell the pilot whether he can land or not. Control tower is very important at the airport, like I keep telling you. Then we board our plane. And what happens? We get our own seat. And we've got to put a safety belt on because remember we're going to travel very, very fast. So we've got to be strapped in nicely. Okay, now this is an interesting plane. Right, this plane was called the Concorde, and it used to fly very, very fast. And you can see here its nose even dips. Okay, and it was known as one of the fastest aeroplanes. Here, unfortunately, is a warplane. Okay, so when we're at war and we fight with people, sometimes these airplanes have to fly very fast, and they even drop bombs and things like that, but they work with soldiers. So not all airplanes are passenger planes. Passenger means people are in it. Those would be warplanes, and then you would have soldiers on them. Now this plane here is quite an interesting plane. Okay, we say planes don't go down, don't fly. This aeroplane is able to land on the water. Okay, so most planes don't. So that's why I say it's an unusual plane. A lot of planes, if they go down, they'll sink right to the bottom of the sea. This one is able to land on the water. Okay, but not many planes do that. And then this one, is your helicopter, right? And also a lot of army people use helicopters as well. And like I said to you, we transport people quickly to hospital like that. I wanted to show you this picture because it's like the aeroplane's garage. Dad parks his car in a garage, but this is called a hangar, okay? And the aeroplane is stored in the hangar, and when they're working on it and the mechanics are seeing that everything's all right, the aeroplane is towed to the hangar, okay? So it's not a garage, it's a hangar. And then this way, very impressive. That's the space shuttle. Okay, so it flies around in space. Very interesting engineering that took place here. So I hope I've given you a little bit of an understanding now about airplanes and different kinds of airplanes that we have. And so when we transport it by airplane, we say it's air transport. And sometimes too, some airplanes don't have passengers, they have cargo, okay? So they also transport things. And if we want things to go quickly from one place to another, we can see that they go by plane. Then they go very, very, very quickly. But it's very expensive to send parcels and things on the airplane, but you can. And then most of us want to be passengers on the airplane. Right now, we can't go on airplanes because they're not allowed to move from one country to another because they don't want to spread the COVID virus. And so a lot of the airplanes at the moment are not really flying. Okay, our businessmen, those men that have got work to do, they've just now been allowed to fly to Durban or to Cape Town. So the airplanes are not flying very far at the moment, and not many are flying, okay, because we want to keep COVID contained. But I do hope in the future you have the opportunity of traveling by air. It's exciting and it is quick. So shall we end off with your song? Aeroplanes, aeroplanes, all in a row. Aeroplanes, aeroplanes, ready to go. Engines are starting to buzz and to hum. Engines are turning, so come along, come. Now they are flying up into the sky, higher and ever so